time to be here. And we want to say a few words, but also, most importantly, answer your questions about anything you want to ask us about the company, and hopefully we'll have time to answer it all. It's great to have the kids here too. I want to talk to you afterwards. What's your favorite ride and all that stuff, but we'll do that later. The format for this morning, I'm going to talk a little bit about the recent announcements that we've made, and then I'm going to introduce Donnie Mills, our park president. He's going to talk about some exciting things going on this season and some special offers for all of you regarding Mako. And then I'm going to come back on stage and share a little bit about the future of SeaWorld and where we want to take the company going forward. Now, we want to make sure we get your questions, so if you have a question and you haven't filled it out yet, there's cards at those tables. Try to fill them out by about 11:15 or so, because we have an individual, Steve. Where's Steve? He's down there. There he is. Get the card to Steve so that he can eliminate duplicates. We often get a lot of duplicate questions, so we try to get to the main issues that are being asked about. We also are going to have our head of zoological operation, Chris Dole. Where are you, Chris? He's going to be on stage with me and Donnie, so you can ask him a question as well. So that's the housekeeping. The first thing I want to do, and probably the main thing as well, is I want to thank all of you. I want to thank you for your support of SeaWorld. I want to thank you for being here. A lot of you are very, very loyal fans that have come back year after year, season pass holders for many, many years. So please hear me when I say we really appreciate that and we thank you. And I know that for some of you, because I read everything customers send to us that I can see. I know some of you wonder, have we changed as a company with what we're all about with some of the recent announcements? And I want to assure you that although the announcements show that we've shifted in some ways in our focus going forward, our values, our mission, and our vision have not changed. Because I know SeaWorld inspires you, it inspired me to come. And we are, and always will be, about protecting animals in the wild and helping others who we partner with to protect animals and the wild habitats that they're in, and make this an incredibly fun place to be while we're doing that. And that will never change. But I do want to spend a few minutes, thank you. I do, though, want to talk about the announcements. We're trying to be very transparent about it. We had an 800 number call in where we had hundreds of guests call in from around the country, actually around the world, asking questions about it. So I just want to talk through it in three steps. The first is we made an announcement we were going to phase out our orcas over a very long period of time. We will not breed them any longer. However, we will keep them at our parks for as long as they live out their lives. So that's in the 40 to 50 year range or so, we will still have orcas at our parks. And I will tell you, I've been at the company for a year, and we have been researching what we can do to turn the company's fortunes around and move it in a positive direction. And it was a very long process. It was 6 to 9 months of multiple research efforts, a lot of discussion with the board and our internal teams. And it was the single hardest decision I've ever been involved in. It was gut-wrenching. I have said this publicly, there were days where I felt, I can't do this. I would rather resign than have to make this decision. It is not what I dreamed would happen when I came to SeaWorld. No one wants to be the person who has to make that kind of announcement. All I can tell you is if you saw all that I saw and all that the board saw, I trust that you would have made the same decision. We can't share everything because we're a publicly held company. But in the end of the day, there were three key things. One, society had clearly shifted. There were a growing number of people who were very uncomfortable with having these very large, beautiful, majestic animals under human care. And it was an ultimate paradox. I know many of you, your first inspiration was the killer whale and coming to our shows and seeing them splash. And it's majestic. My kids have done the same thing. But there was also a very growing number of customers who it was the number one reason they weren't coming to SeaWorld was the fact that we had these animals under human care. It was not reacting to radical groups that will never like us and will always disagree with what we do. It was about a mass middle that we were researching as attitudes have shifted and our customer base was shrinking. Unfortunately, there were not enough people that were still coming to SeaWorld. Our information's been public about our attendance declines over a 3-year period. It also clearly, with the millennials coming forward for the future, the millennials are even more that way. They felt even more angst about these orcas under human care. And it was basically a barrier. Our incredible story of rescue and what we do in research to help these animals in the wild, the orca issue was a barrier from the millennial generation listening to us. And it was clear that the future was an obstacle for us to grow the company with millennials becoming parents and so forth. If it was just our results in the shift in the millennials' attitude and people's attitudes about orcas, we might have been able to overcome it. But honestly, the third issue that was very difficult to overcome is our lobbyists, experts, and people in California told us it was almost certain that we were going to get legislated out in California. There had been attempts 2 years ago, which we pushed back. The Coastal Commission only approved Blue World if we would end orca breeding. And any of you know, when an issue becomes legal in California, it pretty much comes east. Almost always comes east, and it comes east quickly. So the question becomes, if orca breeding is going to be outlawed in California within 1 to 2 or 3 years, do you double down and spend hundreds of millions of dollars in Orlando and San Antonio when you know it's coming east? That was the issue. Is it difficult? Is it gut-wrenching? Yes. But is the future growth of SeaWorld dependent on moving forward? We felt yes. In ultimate terms, we felt it was a SeaWorld without whales, or it was a world without SeaWorld at some point in the future. And we felt we had to do this. And so far, the results of the announcement have been the shift in attitude towards SeaWorld. We tested it a lot before and after, but it's been a 7-to-1 people positive of now feeling good about what SeaWorld's trying to do and make the right decisions. And the intent to come to our parks, it has been more than a 4-to-1 ratio of people now more willing to come to the parks. So it wasn't our added fans we were going for. We love you, and we know a lot of you wish we hadn't made this decision. And I wish we didn't have to, but for the future, that's what we're going to do. Now, the second big thing was the relationship with the Humane Society. And this was something our board felt was really, really important, and I did as well, in that for us to be seen by that middle that we were trying to win back. For those who don't pay attention to this issue a lot, the Humane Society is seen as an organization that cares a lot about animals, and some people who know a lot about their background have a different point of view, but the vast majority of Americans feel very positively about them. And I felt that we agreed on a lot more than we disagreed on. There are major issues affecting wildlife in this world. And we felt it was important to partner with somebody who was our adversary, who now we could support each other in really, really big issues affecting animals. We're going to focus together on trying to end commercial whaling, which just a few weeks ago, just a few weeks ago, the Japanese killed over 300 minke whales, and I think 90% of the females were pregnant. I'm sorry. There was more than that. Okay. Well, it was breaking international law. Wayne Vasselli, the head of HSUS, and I wrote a letter to President Obama. We are trying to work on lobbying efforts to stop that. The other thing we're working on is this horrible practice of shark finning, where they catch a shark, they slice off its fin, and they throw it back in the ocean to die a very horrible death. This statistic is validated. Over 73 million sharks a year are killed to supply the shark finning industry, especially in Asia, mostly for Asia. 73 million. So those are the issues that if we don't stop this, a whole level of the apex predator in our world could be gone. A third of the sharks in this world are on the endangered species list. So that's one reason we partner with Guy Harvey, which Donnie's going to tell you a little bit about that. And when you go ride Mako, which is going to open in June, the queue line will tell you about what we're trying to do. You can buy Guy Harvey paintings, you can buy Guy Harvey clothing, apparel, thank you. I get too excited, I want to talk about it. But it goes towards shark finning. These are big issues that HSUS and SeaWorld are working together on. Do we agree on everything? Absolutely not. Are we endorsing everything HSUS believes? Absolutely not. But think of it as Republicans and Democrats coming together, which they aren't doing, right? I mean, politicians are just monologuing, hating each other. Why don't we come together to get something positive done? And that's what we're trying to do with HSUS. We disagree on issues, and we're going to disagree on issues. But let's get something big done and not argue over, frankly, 29 orcas versus 73 million sharks being killed every year. So that's why we partner with them. And so far they've been very supportive and even have supported us against some PETA attacks, which are irrational. Which, don't get me started, but I'm trying to keep it positive. The last one is we are going to transition our orca theatrical, our killer whale theatrical shows to orca encounters. And I just ask you to trust us on this. We are going to make them still incredibly interesting, but we felt that we needed to shift our focus to more education. So when kids come to our orca encounter, they understand the plight of orcas in the wild. And we want more natural behaviors to happen. I'm going to actually show a slide here, I hope if it comes up correctly, of, that's not the right slide. Can you imagine how much I've aged since that picture? SeaWorld ages you. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That was off script. Beautiful scenery that we will put you in the environment wherever the killer whale activity we're trying to show you, we're going to put you there. We're going to organize the shows more by how they hunt, how they play, how they socialize. So actually 4 or 5 encounters a day might be a whole different experience for you to see. And instead of me using my words, I'm actually going to show you a video that just gives you a glimpse into what we're trying to accomplish with this new orca encounter. So go ahead and run the video.
One of the best parts about working with killer whales is getting to share them through our relationships with our guests, getting to educate people about them. We're animal people, and we want to teach people about animals, so we're very excited about this change.
This new experience is really going to be whale-focused. It's going to be about the whales. So the shows were once really razzle-dazzle with moving screens and dancing and lights and video. We're going to get away from that. We're going to go more natural behaviors.
We think that education should be fun so that people can experience something that really touches them in their heart. Because when you have fun while you're learning and you're entertained while you're learning, that will stick with you forever. So this new encounter is going to be every bit as exciting as it has been in the past, if not more so, because it's going to be real. Most people will never have the opportunity to see killer whales in their natural environment. So we're really excited to be able to demonstrate natural killer whale behaviors right here at SeaWorld so that people can learn more about them and make a connection to them. Have you ever wondered why a killer whale breaches? Well, a lot of people have seen these breaches in our shows in the past. You could also see a whale doing that behavior in the wild in order to communicate. When you see our whales sliding up and out of the water into the slide out, That's the same behavior that they do when they're hunting, when they slide out on a beach.
Guests are going to be able to see them up close, interacting, playing, breaching. That's exciting.
We're putting a huge emphasis on making this as naturalistic of an environment as possible, from the selection of the materials, from the rock work, the trees, the water fountains, all the way to the inside of the stadium where the guests sit. We want people to have an emotional connection to these animals, and we hope to be able to make sure that they go away with a respect for these animals and a want to continue to protect them.
This is a very positive change. We've been through a lot in the past couple of years, and we love our whales just as much as we always have, and getting the chance to present them in a more natural way is going to be very special to all of us.